He's excited.
All right, I'd like to welcome everyone out to our regularly planned Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, May 19th. We'd like to start with our Pledge of Allegiance offered by Darren Junker. If you want to just come up to.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Darren. We do have a full Planning Commission today. Are there any conflicts of interest with item 3.1? Seeing none, we'll go on to our administrative items, which is item 3.1, a conditional use consideration of a site plan for Mountain Point Lot 104. And look at Clint for additional information.
Good evening. It's nice to have just one item on the agenda tonight, so see if we can't get out of here in 20 minutes. So this is, the location of this building, or this proposed building, is just back behind the Holiday Oil and the Redemption bar there. This is a subject property, a little bit closer. So right now, it's the lots in front of this, just to the, I guess, be to the west. Those are currently being developed. So this is the kind of the last piece of the puzzle to fit in there. To the north of it, there's a detention pond, and you can see that the surrounding neighborhoods are all residential. There is a masonry fence on both the south and the east side of the existing lot there where this property will be developed. The grade kind of slopes off, making it's still a highly visible site from the residential neighborhood, but the requirement for the fence is met there. And this kind of shows how that property slopes off and the location of the fence as you're looking to the property there. Another view of that. So in terms of considerations for approval, looking at engineering standards in our zoning ordinance. The proposal is for a almost 13,000 square foot multi-tenant building. They've got a drive-through proposed on the south end of the building, and then 109 parking stalls, which is over the required amount of parking stalls. Just real quick on this drawing here, you can see the solid black line that outlines the property. On the west side, you'll notice that that black line kind of jogs into the property. There is a shared access agreement between the property owners to allow them to locate that parking there, and all the other requirements are still met in terms of landscaping for both sides. So just wanted to make the commission aware of that. In terms of finishing materials, they have brick, glass, stucco, and then metal panels, which is, of course, what we talked about in the pre-meeting. We'll talk about a little bit about it more here today. There is 40% or 60% brick or stone on each of the elevations. The building's 35 feet tall. So as a conditional use, these are the requirements we look at. The ones highlighted in red are kind of the ones we'll hit on a little bit more just because they're more impactful than the others. Compatibility with adjacent uses, impacts on the adjacent uses, and then noxious or offensive emissions. So in terms of adjacency or compatibility with adjacent uses, as I mentioned, they're all surrounding them as residential uses. They have included the required 15-foot parking or 15-foot buffer with landscaping. Trees 15 feet on center. Those will be evergreens to help shield the residential neighborhood from the commercial development. The building's 42 feet away from the east property line, and then 155 from the south. they have over the required amount of landscaping that they're required to have, and then the dumpster is located away from the neighbors. One of the conditions that we would recommend for approval is that on their lighting plan, it did show some light spilling over and encroaching into those residential neighborhoods, so we would just recommend that that be adjusted so that the light does not spill into the residential neighborhoods. In terms of zoning compliance, again, this has kind of been our hot topic item for the last couple meetings. In terms of finishing materials, currently the city ordinance does not allow metal panels as a commercial finished material. And you can see where that material is proposed to be located. The options for the applicant would be to change the material or to amend the ordinance to allow metal materials. And as a staff, we're just recommending that the commission, and I think that we've got some pretty good direction on which way to move is in regards to the metal finishing material. So that being said, these are the options for action. One of the conditions of approval, if the commission is okay with the metal panel as a finished material, would be to require the recommendation would be conditional on the applicant amending the ordinance to allow metal materials as a permitted use or as a permitted material in the commercial zones. If they went through the process and in the end they were not allowed to do that, then they could just finish the building with stucco and still meet the minimum requirements for the commercial building.
And that would have to come back through Planning Commission for that ordinance as well, correct?
The ordinance would have to come back through Planning Commission as well, correct? Okay. Yep. So are there any questions for me on that?
Go ahead, Jackson.
Would it be an ordinance change or a variance?
It'd be an ordinance change.
Because currently we don't allow it at all, correct?
Correct.
So I mean, realistically, Clint, could you tell what the timetable would be if an ordinance amendment were to take place here?
So it's something that I think that we have enough direction on that we could start putting things together pretty quick. An ordinance amendment maybe would take 3-4 months. And I'm not sure what the applicant's timeline is, if that's something that would meet their timeline where they could get to a point and say, okay, this material was approved, so let's apply the metal, or this wasn't approved, so we'll apply stucco.
Thank you, Clint. I just wanted them to know what that would entail a little bit.
Right.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Clint? Okay. Any other information, Clint?
Nope. I don't have
Okay.
anything else.
If the applicant's here and if he wants to come up, just share if the applicant's here and he wants to come up, share any additional information. Please just state your name and then if there's any additional information you'd like to discuss.
All right, my name is Darren Junker, the GC on the job. We're okay changing the metal panel to say EFS, if that's allowable, to avoid a 4-month wait time.
So just replace with the approved material that we
That's correct.
currently
Yeah,
have. Okay.
we don't need to seek an additional material, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have anything else that you need to comment on?
All right.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
we would suggest approving as is. If that's a hiccup or whatever, we approve as is, and with a note saying we'll use materials that are currently allowed within the code.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Any questions for the applicant? I think that makes it a lot easier for us.
Yes, certainly. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll look at the Planning Commission for discussion, if not a motion at this time.
Maybe as a quick note, I like the idea of a metal panel.
Yeah, I like it too.
I think it would be better.
Versus
than
stucco?
It would be better than an EFS or a stucco.
Yeah.
So, especially if it's, like I said last week, the concealed fastener makes a difference.
Yeah, my only hiccup with that at all is it's hard for us to determine exactly what kind of metal yet.
What I do think we
without
should,
clearly defining it.
Oh, there's a lot of different options out there.
so I do think we should look into the ordinance either way. I think
Yeah.
the staff should look into that.
I agree too.
So if they don't want to change, I'm good. I'm kind of good with the way the recommendation stands. I don't want to change it completely.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, I don't know if I can make a decision without knowing the types of metals that are acceptable to the city. how they're fastened to the buildings.
It'd be very easy for us to get something that we didn't ask for if we're not careful with how we write this.
Exactly right. But for right today, I just don't have enough information to say
Yep.
metal's acceptable.
Totally agree. But I think if we went through the ordinance process, we would get very educated on metal.
Yep.
So,
And I think right here, the recommendation is to either replace with approved material or ordinance amendment. So,
I'm ready to make a recommendation.
yep.
Can you go back to the just image? Just had a question.
Go back to the what?
Just the, right there. As far as the building elevation,
It's a ton of stone.
what's that?
It's a ton.
Yeah, it's a lot of stone.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Looks-
stone.
It looks very nice.
It's way different than the conversation we were just having a little bit ago.
Yeah. I like the brick. I don't know, the ridge line feels a little odd. Just the different angles. I don't know if,
I think for this area, it's actually
does that match
it's
what's
a little
what's
more
around it?
matchy because it matches a lot more with that area up there.
The middle.
Matchy.
So if it, yeah, matches surrounding, then I'm good.
So. Good. Then I'll look for a motion from this
Can you
body.
just flip so I can't remember if it was 9 or 10? I'd like to make a motion to approve item 3.1 with staff's, how many recommendations were there? Nine?
Let me-
Nine recommendations?
Maybe I'll ask one more question before you.
Okay.
And I kind of alluded earlier, is a variance not possible?
A variance is only for a hardship, and it can't be a self-imposed, so, yeah, so a variance wouldn't be, there's nothing in our ordinance that would currently allow the planning commission to substitute a material for a different material. They would have to go through the ordinance amendment.
Okay.
How fast could an ordinance go through if we got savvy really quickly?
I would, I mean, in terms
Couple
of,
months.
if everything goes really smooth, maybe 3 months.
We'd have to have public notice, and then they'd just have to see us.
But the way this stands is,
Council
Then it
too.
go to council, and then.
yeah, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
this wouldn't, the way I've recommended approval wouldn't delay them, and they still could come back and change it to metal if they wanted to before the physical construction happened.
I was just going to say, you could approve them with the changes that they've proposed, amend the code, and they could come back and say,
I think
"Can
how
we
it's
alter
written,
our
I think how
approvals?"
it's written is pretty good
Yeah,
though.
to me, by us approving this, they could go metal still, just later in time, so.
So, yeah, the way that the recommendation is written, where the metal panel issue, so you either replace with an approved material or go through the ordinance amendment. So they wouldn't need to necessarily come back to the commission on either decision.
Okay.
If they-
So,
if they went
so is it
metal-
pretty understood? So we'll probably start that process, but there's a good chance you'll probably want to start before that. So you may not, you might do just an approved material. But if it is done, you can bring back and,
But even their plans already say IFAS and,
yep,
or metal, so they're
Yep.
kind of already doing that, right? So.
yeah, so.
They meet the minimum requirements, so that's,
So just stay in touch with staff and they'll let you know if it's adjusted.
But we all do like the idea of metal, we just don't know what kind we want, so that's why we need to have that discussion. So I stand by my motion to approve the item with 9 recommendations.
Motion,
With 7A?
yeah, 7A and B.
I want, just like it
I
is,
said 9.
there's 9.
Yeah. I'll second that.
Okay, motion made by Adam, a second by Brody. We'll call for a vote. Brody,
Yes.
Daryl,
Yes,
Adam,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
and Andrea.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your time, guys. And then item 4,
Oh, I get what you're
any
saying.
additional comments from the chair or commission?
Can we start talking metal next planning commission meeting?
I was gonna say, let's
I think
bring metal in.
we've started beating the horse already, so yeah. Okay,
perfect.
Continue beating.
That was all I was gonna say.
Because I don't think the bodies are, I think we like the idea. We just want to make sure that whatever quality we need to
The
make.
fasteners, the gauge, all that stuff.
So, and it'll make it a lot easier for those that come in
Mm-hmm.
too, saying, these are the approved metal
That's
that you
another
can
one.
use.
Maybe I'd enlist the help of our architects on our commission to kind of give us some direction and clarity there too.
Yep, I won't be getting any emails from you.
So I think it's like gauge and then, what was it, fasteners and paint? Like,
even the metal that it's made out of. Is it
You have like a
aluminum, zinc, what is it?
chlorofluorocarbon, something like that, finish. You know, you can get up to a 50-year warranty on some of it.
I'll be in
We'll
touch.
let emails go back and forth,
Yeah, don't,
since you're talking over my head here. Future meetings, Wednesday, May 25th, City Council, Thursday, June 2nd, Planning Commission, and Wednesday, June 8th, City Council meeting. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yeah, now you gotta finish doing your car.